Okay, so now we gotta wait for YouTube to come back online here. I don't really. This is nothing to do with YouTube, but YouTube can't tolerate this drops here. That I can. It can tolerate it on Periscope because of the unique setup I have. The internet just went down. I don't know. I get this like every night. It's like some issue with my ISP, and I get this. It's just the signal just drops, and I have no explanation. So probably like the wiring may be like getting corroded, and maybe it's time to replace the wiring because they haven't replaced it in years, and then that usually has an effect. So I don't really know. So just I don't see it back on. I don't think it's back on YouTube yet. Takes about a minute for the. No, uh, no, I don't think so. Hello, Mario. I'm back. I'm there. Okay, you already got into YouTube. Okay, I haven't gotten back to YouTube yet. I don't know how you get in so fast. How do you get in so fast? Oh, there we go. Yep. Okay. So AMG and back. Quentin is back on YouTube. Okay. So YouTube is back. Wow. Just when the signal drops like that, it was a drink break for you. It's really really kind of depressing when that happens because it just interrupts and then it splits the video in two. And when the video splits in two, then it's kind of like a dead video. So it really bugs me that it happens because that's why I don't even like going live anymore because it's just it's so unsteady with this stuff. Notification bells shows new message sends me to new stream. Okay, that's how you do it. Okay. So how long does it start? It doesn't start immediately. Was that the off-grid internet in action? That is the on-grid internet, and it's nothing to do with YouTube or Periscope. It has to do with my internet here, and I don't really, I can't tell you much more than that because I don't really know. Because I can't monitor the internet while I'm broadcasting. I have to take it as it is. Otherwise, I'd be interrupting myself. So, don't really know why it happens to be dropping right now, but there it is. Okay, so to continue my topic here, wow, that means I got to start from scratch because it's running ads, so it delays your start. No, that doesn't affect me, ET Buck. Doesn't affect me. That's you. CenturyLink, no, Spectrum. Spectrum, Zucking Spectrum. Kind of tells you need your own private internet, right? There's a draw to having decentralized internet because you're gonna get high speed. You get you get all the apps. You get Facebook. You get locations tracked, so you can go use Google Maps. You can use you can use Siri. You can use Bixby. You can use whatever Cortana to find out everything about your life. And all of this happens because of the cloud, and the cloud occurs because we have a centralized internet. The internet wasn't exactly made to initially be centralized. The idea of the internet was supposed to be, oh, we have independent little websites, and there used to be like thousands and thousands of places you go to separately, and you don't really go to one place because the internet is so big, and you got to go use searches and links to go find anything. And then Google changed that and made searching easy. And then Google got centralized, and then Facebook centralized social media, on and on and on until today. Pretty much the internet is run by a very few number of players. The ISPs, there's not that many ISPs, and they control your entry into the internet. So home cable DSL, that's limited to a few providers, like Charter, Spectrum. Charter is Spectrum, and a few of these other companies. And then you got the telecoms, the AT&T and the T-Mobile and the Sprint, which T-Mobile and Sprint is one, and Verizon, and that's about it. In the US, you don't have that many choices anymore. And then your app choices are even more limited. They're limited to just a few of these companies. So many of you are only using products from Google, from Facebook, and Twitter. And maybe an occasional one here and there. And there we go. We've gotten so centralized that we don't realize what happens when you have a centralized internet, and that we're actually subject to so much manipulation. They can censor. These companies can censor and choose what you want to watch. They can filter. They can give you fake news or real news or whatever they want to give you. They can manipulate. They can push topics on the top and say, this is what you need to see, because this is what we think is important for you to see. And these topics we can hide, because these topics are not important in our mind for you to see. We want to bias your thinking, and it's going to be biased by these few companies. It upsets me a lot. And it's like saying to myself, geez, is this the way it's going to be for the rest of our lives, that there's no more options? Well, there is some other option, and it takes kind of a push by individuals to say, I want to fight back, and the push can be small at the beginning. Let me just tell you my experimentation with the push. A person could, in theory, and I want you to watch this video to show you that I've actually done it. I lived in a country with centralized control. It is ugly. Yes, cockeyed. So have I. I've lived in a country with a dictatorship. I've connected a network for myself with 4 nodes. I got 2 routers and 2 computers plus whatever computer I connect to it. So 5 nodes, and it's 4 miles apart. And someone from the outside could connect to my nodes. So if I have neighbors that say, well, I want to connect to your node, they actually could connect to my node. So let's say my neighbor said, well, I want to connect to your node too. So they can just install the same software. By the way, the equipment that I'm using cost me, and this is more of the expensive one, is $77. That's the expensive one. And you could get away with as little as $45 if you have somebody close to connect to. And I'm providing here more of a backbone. And what happens is, if somebody connects to me, and then that somebody else connects to the new person, and somebody connects to these people with these little devices that could cost, under $100. No, Kathy, no, connect using what? Air. Yes, you are Zuck, Jab and Gab. Yes, air, Kathy. These are Wi-Fi equipped. They use in my case, they use 5.8 gigahertz. These are devices that are made for they used to be used for the old AirMax. AirMax used to be a solution for rural internet, and which has kind of died now. Nobody does that, but these devices are widely available, and you can buy them for under $100. And is this something as a homegrown internet? Yeah, a little bit like that, but it's actually an operation. What do we need to get for VPN? Right there, bytesvpn.com, which is my VPN. Don't you trust me? You trust me, you trust my VPN right there, bytesvpn.com, which is my stealth VPN. Don't go for the NordVPNs. Don't go for the private internet access.com VPNs. Don't go for those VPNs because they're known. They're known VPNs. Go for the stealth VPN. Nobody knows that's a VPN. Go for the stealth VPN, bytesvpn.com. Okay, pause with the commercial now. Yes, get bytesvpn.com. So anyway, back to what I'm talking about. Right now, it's only me connected to whoever I'm going to connect to. I'm actually have to buy a more expensive dish to connect to another network 27 miles away, which will connect me to hundreds of these nodes. But in order for me to do that, I have to buy more expensive equipment. But my neighbors could, in theory, very reliable jab and gab. Ask the people who are on Bytes VPN right now. Ask the people who are on Bytes VPN right now. Maria Bunny. Hello, Maria Bunny. Would they know if you advertise it over YouTube? What? Would they know if they advertise what over YouTube? If the VPN costs $3 or less, it's a honey pot. If you have a close-knit community but people are states away, yeah, there are short-term solutions for that. But in the long run, can you just think of if people agree to do this? All it takes is anger. If people are angry, they can say, "Well, I'm so sick and tired of." What's his name used to say on Periscope? I'm so sick and tired of being so sick and tired. So you could, in theory, say, okay, neighbors, come join. This could be your next door. This is your next door network. People just say, oh, you have an antenna? I'm going to connect and point to your antenna. Oh, and then the other neighbors say, can I point to your antenna too? And then others say, can I point to the new antenna? And so you can actually create what is called a mesh network. And these mesh networks are already existing. There's software for it. There's hardware for it. And it already exists. And the only thing that's lacking really is applications to work over a mesh network. But remember, you're using something called Nextdoor. But you're not really Nextdoor. Nextdoor isn't a software for Nextdoor. Nextdoor is centrally controlled by Nextdoor.com. Just like Facebook.com, just like all of the things that are all centralized, that are emails from Nextdoor.com being read by Google and three-letter agencies and so on. I mean, it's like enough. And so I'm experimenting with this. It's an experiment. I realize this is not going to go anywhere until a lot of people say, yes, we want to do this. But can you just imagine, and I just want you to imagine this. Because what is the internet? The internet is just a network. It's just a large network. That's all it is. The internet is a large network. But what happened is the internet started to get fed by these big trunks. These level 3, trunks of fiber optic. And that's how we're traversing the world quickly. Instead of just using electrical wiring, we're using fiber optics. And so we get all this traffic. But the problem is the price of this is centralized control. So when you go out on your email, you have to go through your ISP. The ISP charges so much money for your internet. Many of you have separate internet for your phone, separate DSL for your house. You're probably spending a car payment's worth or more on internet. Probably more than a car. For me, it's more than a car payment. So I got internet on every one of these devices. So I got to pay for internet on these, every individual phone for every family member. Then I got to pay for it on DSL. And they're charging a lot of money for this. And what I'm talking about is a free internet, free alternate network. And I don't want to call it the internet because it's not the internet. But so I'm demonstrating it using something called the Arden network. And it's a peer-to-peer network developed for emergency use for ham radio operators. So that's what I'm using right now. But what is interesting about this is that nothing stops this from being used outside of that because it's really open source. It's open source. So somebody could say, could you take, can you do something else with it? Can you use it outside of ham radio? Actually, yes, you can. And, ham radio people are experimenting with this, and it's kind of fun. But if there's enough people that say, enough, if people are just saying we understand the dangers of the internet as it is, we would like to have an alternative, that you can actually have an alternative that is free. The only thing that people would need, you can do it if it's being done in the U.S., of course it can be done in third world countries. You can connect. I'm connecting to a backbone 27 miles away on a backbone. And by the way, the backbone can run on solar. It doesn't need any kind of immense power supply. It can run on solar energy. You can just put a little solar panel on it and it's good to go. And you can run a battery at night. You can run 12 volt. I'm running it now. Jab and Gab. Go to my YouTube channel. Follow me on YouTube. Watch that video and see me demonstrate it. The other unit, so I am demonstrating it right now. One of the units is on my boat. It's 55 feet up in the air on a mast, and that allows it to get some bit of reach to get out of the obstructions. And yes, watch it on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube, and you will see this demonstrated. And I'm getting about 30 megabits on it, 30 megabits per second on it. I mean, that's fast enough to do video. I can control the computers remotely. It's just like being on the internet. So the final score is in, but do I care? But what is the final score? It seems really hard to find the solar charges that actually work. Is the price tag the main indicator? Solar charges that really work. No, Mad Cow. Be careful with that. I can't help you with the big ones, but I've been researching the smaller portable solar chargers. The big ones are, much more complicated to do, but it is one of my videos planned to do a little bit of the portable charger so you can use that, because I really actually want to power my devices. I want to power my devices completely off the grid. Hello, Go Rice Girl. I want off the grid network capability. So my other unit is sitting on the boat. It's not connected to anything. It's not connected to the internet. It's connected to the battery on the boat. So now I am trickle charging the battery on the boat from the dock, but in theory I can change that and trickle charge it with a solar panel. If I trickle charge with a solar panel, I don't need any electricity from the dock, and I would have an independent network running over there, which has Wi-Fi. I can actually go to my boat. And connect to my home network from my boat. Hello, James. I don't have Bixby, Kathy. My phones are not Samsung. I have a Android. I have Android Pixel and an Alcatel. I don't have any newer Samsung phones. So no, I haven't even. Do I really need to review Siri? You've been looking at portable ones too. So I'm like thinking about this. I'm just gonna say this in a kind of a theoretical way, because it's a matter of desire. If your neighbor said to you, "I'd like to connect to your network. How much would it cost me?" And I'll say, if your neighbor's close by, like next door, or a few houses away, $45. If they're within a quarter of a mile, $45. They connect to your network. Is it line of sight? Well, if you have enough neighbors on it, it will actually be line of sight. So you can actually connect a community with $45 routers with no wires. I'm talking completely wireless, and be on one network. Now, you can't run like Facebook on it, obviously, because it's not connected to the internet. But somebody will have to develop some new peer-to-peer kind of application for this. Is there any way to compromise the network? You'll have to be on a local network because it's like a LAN. So if you have to access the LAN, and it's all static IP addresses. So it's not easy to do because there's no central. For example, if you run Wireshark, you can only Wireshark the neighbors near you because you're not a backbone. How do you insert a Wireshark in a peer-to-peer network and get a lot of data? You're going to get data limited to your neighbors. In which case, if you're using Wireshark and you're the neighbor, then I can find you and I'll say, you're doing something. You're next door. But this is the kind of thing that it just doesn't really. It doesn't work. Hello, black marker. It doesn't really work to do the kind of hacking and stuff that is working now, because that's being done in a centralized way through centralized networks. This is completely decentralized. The connection is just between you and the guy next door. So, and the apps you use maybe also be community based. Thank you for the super heart, 26 alien. I don't need to make a Facebook clone. I have an app myself. I could put an app on it, but it has to be lightweight. It has to be lightweight. Because in order for it to succeed in peer-to-peer, it can't really have that much data. Wireshark at unsecure hotels, great way, sure. So I'm just saying to you that if we said we want to fight back, there's actually a way. There's a way to say, I want to get away from that internet. Can you make our own network? And it'll change, because you can actually, yes, you can run your phones. You can do all that because the phones can connect to the Wi-Fi and connect to the network. No, actually, the one I'm using requires a ham license. But in theory, you can set it up. You can set up a similar system, perhaps not using this exact software, and using it on frequencies that are not restricted to ham licensed people. The one I'm using is restricted to ham frequencies, and that's the limitation. But it doesn't have to be. The technology is such. This, by the way, the technology is kind of old, and I'm going to tell you what it is. This used to be a product called AirMax. I don't know if anybody remembers AirMax, because it kind of didn't really get off the ground. AirMax was supposed to be like a Wi-Fi hotspot thing that they're going to offer, so you can find Wi-Fi everywhere. So they're going to install AirMax in every corner, and in theory, that they expected people to get Wi-Fi from any location as long as you're near one of these AirMax routers. AirMax is spelled AIRMAX. In case you didn't know that. So that's where the technology emanated from. And it's called mesh networks. And what it is that these networks are independent. They're not connected to each other. All you have to do is put one of these up in the air, and if it finds another network of the same type nearby, it connects to it automatically. You want to keep your notes on Google? Yeah, that's good luck with that. You can keep your notes on Brax.me. That's where I keep my notes. I keep my notes on Brax.me. Any way to jam it? Yeah, of course you can jam it, but it's peer-to-peer. So what are you jamming? You're jamming one. Yeah, you can jam cell tower. You can jam anything. But you jam one. You can't, if you have hundreds of these, you can't jam it. So AirMax is the technology, and the plan at the when AirMax came around was that they would put thousands of these in a city, maybe hundreds of thousands of these, because they're only. Will you read I can't read notes on Brax black marker. It's encrypted. That the whole platform is sucking encrypted. I keep my stuff on it because it's encrypted. So I'm not afraid of somebody from Amazon reading it, because they can't read it. So far, I've only managed to jam my calculator. That's actually one of the videos I'm going to make. I'm going to see if I can jam a cell phone. Google encrypt. Are you joking, Black Marker? Is that a joke? Are you joking, Black Marker? So you'd rather go to Google, which does not encrypt, rather than use a platform that states that they do encrypt. Okay? Google Docs is made to be not encrypted because they want to read what you put on Google Docs. Why don't you sell the equipment and software for it later? I don't have to sell the equipment. You can buy it from Amazon for $77. Software's free. Open source. So, and then I put a Raspberry Pi on it. You don't need a Raspberry Pi, but if you want a server, you can put a computer on there. I put a cheap Raspberry Pi on there. And if you're a big enough operation, you can put a real computer on there and have that serve as a server. So I have a web server running on a Raspberry Pi, running websites and such, and a chat program. And I'm going to do live streaming from it. I'm going to actually test putting a camera on it so I can live stream and then see what's on the other side of the connection 4 miles away. This is just proof of concept to show that we can actually have a grid and do this for pretty much under $100 a piece. So if each household invested in one of these, can you imagine if a community said, sure, we'll invest in under $100 to have this kind of connection and put maybe a Raspberry Pi as a wireless, and then you can use your existing devices to connect to this network, because all you do is log into the network of this private network, and you can access the resources on the private network. Now, there are no major apps in here yet because it's kind of new, but the thing is that if people are aware of this, it's like, do you understand that this can survive? This can survive a grid being down. Now, why is that? Why can this survive the grid being down? Because it's not connected to anything. It's airwaves. The only thing connecting this thing that I'm talking about is power. If it has power, which can be solar, it's gonna run. If the internet goes down, electricity goes down, it doesn't matter. This network will run. It just needs power, and it uses milliwatts of power. Milliwatts. You can run it on a car battery, and it will probably run many, many days on a car battery. Many, many days. Maybe a week on a car battery. So can you imagine? Again, this is theory. No one's doing this except for the people testing it now here around the world in limited cases here. Our devices need power. Solar, E.T. Buck. Power your cell phone through a solar charger with a battery. Accumulate the battery this is what the grid is down. But the grid isn't down right now, so you don't have to worry about that. But when the grid is down, you could run it from one solar panel and one battery. And that could power all of your devices, including this thing I'm talking about. And you don't need to pay for it. If a solar flare hits, then it will be better. Actually, you don't know about solar flares, Black Marker. It's actually the opposite. Solar flares, sunspots. Sunspots actually increase propagation in some frequencies, decrease in others. Yes, Black Marker. When you study for your ham license, you will discover that solar sunspots hits everything differently. For example, in the 20 meter, 10 meter band, these bands are inactive right now because there's many. There's not enough sunspots. So the more sunspots you get, the more these frequencies, 20 meters and shorter, between 20 meters and 10 meters and 6 meters, the propagation will actually be better. Yes, Black Marker. Though I don't know who that is. I was hearing CB skip from far away on the radio. Isn't that illegal? CB is not allowed to skip, so sounds illegal to me. Woo! Raptors won. I think the internet providers would freak out if they saw these networks cropping up. They are cropping up for ham radio operators. So if you're in ham radio, we are using this, and it's more experimental at the moment. They're experimental because there's some rules and laws in ham radio that prevent it from being used for commercial purposes. You cannot do anything commercial on it. So nothing commercial on it. And the other limitations that we are using ham band frequencies, but you don't have to. The original software was not written for ham band frequencies. The original software was written for 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, which are the normal Wi-Fi bands. They can be used in the normal Wi-Fi bands easily. You don't know how electricity works. Yes, electrons. Electrons move. If you allow electrons to move, they move. So, anyway, this is did I lose my YouTube again here? Mine died. Hold on a second here. Mine disconnected. Okay, I'm back. I lost the YouTube there for a second. Anyway, so what I'm theorizing here is just a matter of desire. If people said, okay, we want an alternative, the only reason that it's not happening is people say, well, I'm happy with Facebook. I don't see any problem with Facebook. I'm Matthew Vick. Where's Matthew Vick? I'm Matthew Vick. I don't mind that they spy on me and profile me and censor what I see. I don't mind that. So I'm going to stick with that because I want Google Maps. I don't exactly want to use Google Maps. I try to avoid using any of that as far as I can help it. And I don't reveal my locations. And I try not to email. I really do everything that's anti whatever these big companies want to do. I go completely against it. I go completely against it. Thank you, AMG. That's the best explanation of electricity you've heard yet. Electricity, electrons. How about that? MapQuest, who cares? Use a manual GPS. Don't you have a GPS device? Do you need to go on the internet for GPS? Come on. In fact, your phone has a GPS. Just overlay a map on it and you're all set. Do you actually need the GPS? Do you actually need Google Maps? What does Google Maps actually do for you? I don't know if you know this. Google Maps is overlaying their maps over your GPS. Well, your device, hello twin mom, your device already has a GPS. This has a GPS on it. It doesn't need Google. It just needs a picture over GPS positions. So back in the old days, it's very simple. You plot important points, and they're called waypoints, and you plot a waypoint and you overlay it over the GPS. That's how the old GPSs work. And nobody needs to use that anymore because obviously Google gives you a little map. Well, that's all that is. Now, in return for the map that Google gives you, what do you get? You get tracking. They track you and say, oh, there you are. We'll move the map for you. We'll move the picture for you. We already know where you are. We're going to move the picture for you, but then we know where you are, and then we can run you on Waze, and then we can go spot where everyone is on Waze. Okay? So if you actually think that you need the internet to use a GPS, incorrect. I've been using GPS since, before 2000. We were using them on boats. I was using GPSs in yacht racing, in the late 98 or something. I was already using a GPS back then. We were one of the first users of GPS, and we used it on boats. So you don't need that. So, some of these things that you think that's very important to you is actually, independent of all this. So I can't search for stores when I use GPS without internet. Well, go go get tracked because you can't search for stores without somebody knowing that you're searching for the stores. And somebody says, "Oh, who was that again? Black Marker wants to buy ice cream, so we're gonna go plaster him with ads of ice cream and try to influence his behavior." My grandma's Garmin still works better than Google Maps. I have two Garmins. It's on my boat. I have two Garmins. Now, I haven't used it in a while, but I have two of them. So, oh, they're gonna plaster with you ads about that too, Black Marker. But more than that, they'll know your preferences. They'll know your particular preferences. Okay, so if that's what you want, Black Marker, if you're happy with that, then you really don't need to change the way it is. Things are pretty cool. I'm saying I'm one of those that say, yeah, I know people think I'm weird, but I'm really saying to myself, I don't want what they're selling me. I don't I don't like to drink the Kool-Aid. I don't need that. I don't need to drink their Kool-Aid. Garmin is one of the original GPS companies. Garmin makes GPSs. There. And leave that there for protection. Yes, so yeah, I was using the Garmin in 1998 or so. So that's 21 years ago. Oh my gosh. What? There you go, Black Marker, whatever your other names are. You, not again, okay? What are your other names? You're just, here. There, Black Marker. Note that too. There. Wonder what this is. What is your preference? Single action, double action only, or hybrid? I prefer a 1911 Mad Cow. That's what I prefer. You feel safer, okay. I can't tell you if this 556 or not. I can't. I need glasses. I can't tell you if it's 556. It's too small to read. Yep, I can't. It's too small to read it. I need. I need glasses. So, or I need to look at the. Chances are it's 556, but it could be 223. I can't tell you. Do you have enemies? No, not particularly. No, but I've been threatened here on broadcast. So, but I like target shooting. It's fun. The cops are coming. You better be ready. Cool. 1911 should be cheap. Their standard issue from 1911 to 1986. Mad Cow, that's assuming you want to buy a original Army issued 1911, which do you have what? What does that mean, Kaka? So by whom? Don't know. It's corporate entities is my guess. Corporate entities. Somebody passed a message to me that they needed to do damage control from what I say. So, they do damage control for what I say. Well, I don't know what they mean by damage control, but we're going to take one method of damage control out of the equation. Okay? So I wanted just to make sure that this kind of damage control, this will prevent the other kind of damage control. There you go, Doctor. Like Zuckerberg? No, Zuckerberg is fine. No, Zuckerberg's fine. Zuckerberg is actually here. He has a spy here every night. So uh, he has a spy here every night. iPhone or Android? Are they any better? Oh, look at those pretty hearts. Thank you, Randy. Hey, Randy. What's up, Randy? So, in order to escape Randy's system of surveillance, because you really have to worry about, evading Randy Horton's system of surveillance. And the only way to do that is to create your own Zucking network away from Randy. An anti-Randy network, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Have your own private network. It's I'm gonna tell you, it really is it's a cool experiment. What one interesting thing, Randy, just for your information, the network that I'm running here has no encryption because we're not allowed to do encryption on ham radio. But it doesn't have to run on ham radio. You just sell the stuff. Uncle G in the house. Who's Uncle G? A pre-Android BlackBerry. Yeah. Randy is measured with miles. Love for Randy is measured in miles. So yeah. What I'm describing here. Hello, Chi Charlie. What I'm describing here is so interesting if people just banded together and said, yeah, that would interest me, but in order for it to happen, people will have to have a desire and understanding that they're being spied on one network. And they'll say, well, we want an alternate network. And to be able to do it with a mesh network is really, really interesting. So let me just explain exactly how this technology works. Again, this came out from the old AirMax technology, so it's actually a failed networking scheme that didn't really go very far, except they kept improving the equipment. So the equipment is very good, and they actually are coming up with new ones in this limited kind of a market. And mostly the market that uses these devices are ISPs. These devices that I'm talking about are typically bought by your AT&T and your Verizon and your Sprint and your T-Mobile. That's what they use this for. And guys like me buy it, and you can buy it on Amazon. I'm gonna buy one from a company called MikroTik. It's a dish. It's a dish this big, and I'm gonna put the dish out there to reach to a node that's 27 miles away. And this dish is list price for $72. It's gonna reach $100 with tax and shipping though, but because it's kind of big. So around 100 for this is a big unit, but I'm talking about things that you can install for $45. If a big neighborhood said we're gonna buy this, it's gonna automatically mesh each other and connect to each other simply by Wi-Fi. You don't need to do anything. The software handles it all. The software just connects. It's called mesh network. So if enough people have it, so you can actually, I'm going to describe a situation for you. Let's say that there's 100 of you in a club, and you say you're all going to buy this $45 device, and you're going to power it with a battery, okay? Or maybe you put it in your car, whatever the scenario is, and you meet up and spread out over some area. Then you're actually all connected. It will actually, if there's enough of you nearby, you will actually create a mesh network that can connect a large area with broadband internet at 150 megabits. Can you make a list of equipment needed somewhere with all the prices? Kaka, this is at the moment, this is a thing that is really for ham radio operators. So I advise that you get a license if you want to experiment with this. But I'm really thinking long and hard about this because there's actually a company that started doing this kind of network and doing it with crypto, and they're selling they're selling this device to do, and they're starting in Austin. What is the name of this company? Can't remember now. But anyway, this company is building this peer-to-peer network, and they're selling their little router devices for $495. $495 for a node. And it's like $495. I mean, you can buy what I'm talking about for $45. 45 bucks. There's no domains, black marker. I suppose you could have domains, but there's no centralization here. This kind of network is not centralized. Everyone has their own IP address, and you can reach anyone if you know their IP address. So somebody will have to create a manual list of at the early stage of this. This is like a internet at the beginning. It's a new concept, and I just want to expose you to it. So I want you to look at my experiment. You will be the name server. There's not going to be one name server. Each device can keep its own name servers. I want to experiment with this, and I have a video that shows this actually running, and I will expand the video. I will have I'm going to connect to a larger group here in Southern California and show you how extensive the network is here in ham radio. There are hundreds of these. There are hundreds of these right now. So if I get my antenna here, I can show you that I can actually connect to hundreds of these in Southern California, all the way down the coast to San Diego, and all the way up the coast, to Santa Barbara. It's got to be line of sight, so it doesn't get to San Francisco area. It doesn't get to Las Vegas. Those need something called tunnels. Well, you want the address. There you go. So you have to use ham radio. No, there's no ham radio, Twin Mom, nothing. It just needs a $45 to $100 router that you can buy from Amazon, and then you just plug in your computer to it, and you're on the network. And it's a private network, and it doesn't require anything else, and it connects to the other guy simply by radio waves, and there's a very limited set of applications for it. At the moment, it's all experimental. You can do voice over IP. So in essence, you can put a phone on it. So that you can do. You can stick a phone to it and call anybody you want that's on the network. Good. Good, Monkey Man. So yeah, there's a chat program that anyone can see. There's like a global chat. If you texted, of course, Halo San, well, obviously, yes, Twin Mom, but that's the full point of what I'm trying to tell you. It's a mesh, so that it kind of daisy chains. If you connect to your neighbor connects to the other neighbor, and so on, it will automatically find similar devices around and create a mesh. So in California, there's already a mesh that covers all of Southern California. There are hundreds of these all over Southern California today. And they're connected simply by pointing it somewhere, and it will find something. Good luck with that, Black Marker. Good luck with that. The Black Marker said something that's kind of interesting. So this is the kind of stuff that just show you, how people really do not understand how the internet works. So he said, and I'm sure it's a joke. He says, "Well, I use WhatsApp to buy drugs from my dealer, and it says it's encrypted." Okay, if the government knows that your dealer is a dealer, then all they have to do is go see who you're talking to on WhatsApp, because Facebook knows who you're talking to. Facebook knows the name of your dealer. Facebook knows who you are. Therefore, they know who's talking to each other on WhatsApp. Exactly, Randy. I mean, it's so stupid. The metadata alone, goodness, you can be tracked with all the metadata and with a stupid encryption system that is only encrypted for single person communications. And people actually think, oh, this is encrypted. I don't even know what they do with the images. I bet you those images are just stored in a very average way with no zucking encryption. And people think, oh, I can send my junk pics using WhatsApp. And it's like, really? Okay. Yeah. It just, you don't understand what happens. When you have a centralized internet, you enable institutions to track, to profile, to collect data, and to make each one of us one of their minions. That's what happens with a centralized internet. I hate it. The internet didn't start like this. I was here at the beginning of the internet. The internet was not like this. Now it's a sucking, centralized cesspool of tracking and profiling and control. Where everyone's move is recorded. Everyone's move is in a database and sold. With mercenary organizations keeping the databases and Randy Horton's company providing the hardware and software to provide even more tracking. It's crazy. It's a crazy world, but I know Randy has to make a living. Randy has to make a living. So Randy, as long as you sell it over there, just don't sell it over here. Not that they need it over here; they already have it. Move is recorded, behavior is shaped, and minds are kept in. Black Marker actually agrees with me. What the zuck? What the zuck? Black Marker actually agrees. That's like the first. So, yep. That's kind of the strange mysteries of people are like say, oh, I'm not good with tech. I don't understand all this tech, but I like that I use my iPhone and everything is convenient, and I just talk to Siri and I tell it everything, and it does everything, and it tells me where to go and tells me what to buy, and I talk to Alexa, and life is so simple with technology, so I don't really have a problem with this. It's like, zuck, you stupid people. It's exactly what they want. Stupidity. Okay? Yeah, you have the little convenience, and you don't really realize what it comes with, because you say, oh, it's a free app, it's a free thing on the phone, it's a free this, free that. Nothing is free. You don't even realize how much money you're paying for your internet. Do you find like-minded people on ham radio? Twin Mom, it's very interesting. It's very interesting that you say that. I'm going to guess that something draws them to ham radio. There's a lot of old ham radio people, obviously, so that's a pretty fixed market, and they tend not to hang around on Facebook because they want to hang around radio because they want to talk. But there's a group of people who go to ham radio because they want to get out of the same things I want to get out of. Not always, Twin Mom. There's the motivations of each person are different. Some are drawn to the radio technology. Some are drawn to the electronics part of it. I'm drawn to the digital part of it because it's really close to what I do, and I'm saying, is there an alternative to what we do on the internet that just gives us a little bit less, a little bit more freedom and less influence from third parties. Just to show you how disgusted I am, and I made a video saying I'm so disgusted, which you should watch on YouTube. It's my most popular video right now. Uh, yes, twin mom. It just I'm I'm so so aggravated by society and how we just say we're willing to give so much to Facebook, and we don't actually realize what that actually means and translates to in real life with real decisions and real events until you get to elections. And in elections now, you start to say, well, yeah, Facebook wants to make sure that elections are not biased, and so they start to centrally control what comes out on Facebook. Twitter starts to centrally control what comes out on Twitter. YouTube starts to centrally control what comes out of YouTube, and Google searches try to control all that to in their mind say that the election is fair. But that's the problem. When a few individuals, and this is really what's happened here in the world now, a few individuals can control the information flow. Zuckerberg, I don't even know who heads Google now. I'm so confused. Is Eric Schmidt still running things, or that changed now? And then Tim Cook, and and Jeff Bezos. A few people can control the information flow in the world, and doesn't that bug you? That means if they think, no, Gates is out of it now. This is what I'm talking about is P2P. When a few people control the information flow, that doesn't worry most of you. You just don't think about that. They set the agenda. They can say, the biggest issue in the world is whatever Zuckerberg says it is, which he says what it is. He says it's global warming. That's the number one problem of the world. Not your freedom. Not your freedom. See, I have a little bit, different sense of it. I'm really worried the biggest problem in the world is that a few individuals are controlling information and deciding what they want you to decide on. And that worries me. And apparently most of you just use your apps and you just say, well, we don't really need to concern ourselves with that. Well, that really, really concerns me. I'm sorry. And that really bugs me. And I want to get away from that. I want to have an option where I say, no, I don't want to be in that scenario. I want to have a choice to say, I want a decentralized internet the way the original internet was designed. I want to get my news from decentralized sources and not subject to bots. Because here's the other thing. Just because it's centralized, and even if the main purveyor of the platform, such as Zuckerberg, even if they were so honestly middle of the road, which they're not, let's say that if they're honestly middle of the road, like Zuckerberg, if he says that, you're still subject to manipulation because of bots. Here on Periscope, we get so many bots, and you look around and say, look at the popular people on Periscope getting so many users, got so many viewers per night, and it's fake. Unless you're featured on Periscope, your chances of getting big numbers are, unless you're, doing open bobs, very low chances now. And I don't really care anymore for that because it's not real. And yet people are putting in all these big numbers to make it look like Periscope is producing all this volume that is not. Well, that's the kind of thing that exists on the internet. On Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, there's so many fake bots that are actually making things trend and making you think that it's trending and it's really being manipulated by somebody else. They're open bots. Open bots. There's manipulation all around, and it's the product of centralization. The more centralized you are, the more you're subject to this. And now I'm saying, hey, maybe we can go change this. Maybe we can make a P2P internet, which is what I'm talking about here. A peer-to-peer off-grid, and the reason it's off-grid is it doesn't rely on grid power. It doesn't require any wiring. There's no wiring for this. But I don't want anybody to decide it. Halo's son. Wouldn't it be best if nobody decides it? Wouldn't it be best if people just gave their opinions and you, based on what you know, you say, okay, I'll make my own decision. Packet radio still exists. Go back to CB radio? No, I'm giving you an alternative. Yes, I'm giving you an alternative. There's actually a way to do peer-to-peer wireless networking with devices that are only $45 a piece. If every household says, I'm going to, let's say 50% of your neighbors said, I'm going to buy one of these $45 devices. You have your internet right there. You don't need to wire it. Stick it outside your window. That's all you need. Get one of these devices, stick it outside of your window, put a suction cup on it, suction cup it to your window, plug it in, all set. You're on the net. Wow. You want to network with it? Attach a router to it. Done. Well, there's different devices. The one I use is Ubiquiti. So watch my video. You'll see what device I use. I use a Ubiquiti NanoStation M5, and then I got two of those. Then I'm going to get something called a MikroTik PBE HP5XL. So I'm going to buy one of those, and that can reach the long distance. But these are more high-powered. I'm connecting it a distance of about 4 miles. But if you're only connecting neighborhoods, you basically need $45. If everyone in your neighborhood had one, you're on the net. Free. Broadband, Life of Crawford. Broadband. My 4 miles has a bit of an obstruction. I'm getting about 30 megabits. Is that sufficient? The actual rated speed is 150 megabits, but I'm only getting 30 megabits at the moment, because of the obstruction. So I'm getting 30 megabits. Is that sufficiently passable? I mean, many of you don't even get 30 megabit internet. That's enough to do streaming video. I can watch a movie over 30 megabits. Life of Crawford, did you get that? Yes, you're getting 250 wired. Have fun. So I'm going to connect to a node 27 miles away. I'm going to connect to a node 27 miles away. I'm hoping to get it, to get a reasonable bandwidth. I don't know, because it depends on the distance. The more of these devices, the faster it is. So right now I have to go so far away. I'm going, 150 miles away. So obviously it can't go 250 megabits. It can't go, yes, Ninja. There's nothing there's no limitation at 30 megabits is sufficient broadband to do most things. That's reasonable speed. To say that you need 250 megabits is kind of like joking. Do you ever have a serious question, Marker? Yeah, so is that 40 megabytes per second or 40 megabits? So very good internet is typically 50 megabits and above, 50 to 100 considered, you use it for gaming. Well, gaming is not 250 megabits. So I don't know what you would need 250 megabits for unless there's 5 of you doing the gaming. If there's 5 of you doing the gaming, I don't understand 250 megabit gaming because, I don't understand. megabytes. So your actual speed is 40 times 8. That is, uh, uh, I don't know. That doesn't sound right to me. So you're saying your bandwidth is over 300 megabits per second. So chances are you're talking megabits, not megabytes. Black marker, yes, of course it can be. Yes. This is the product of centralized anything, centralized internet, centralized behavior, centralized, you know, pornography. Looking at centralized websites, this is crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I'm talking, by the way, about I'm getting to my connection onto my node. I'm getting 30 megabits up and down. My connection to my node in my experimental node, which is on a boat, I'm getting 30 megabits up and down. And again, that has some obstructions in here. If I had many neighbors using this, that will actually speed it up. How fast is Google Fiber? I use. There you go. 30 up. There's no up and down, Life of Crawford. This is not DSL. This is not DSL. There's no up and down. It's the same. Up equals down. There's no the distinction for up and down is from your DSL, so they can preserve bandwidth. But there's no such, provision here. So when I say 30 megabits, that's up and down. That's pretty good. I don't get 30 megabits up on my on my network often. My maximum up may only be 20. I use Brax for. There you go. I didn't know that Brax was a browser. You're getting 25 download and 2.2 upload. Well, my private internet here is getting 30 up, 30 down, and that's not the rated speed. The rated speed is 150 megabits per second up and down. That's what the hardware is rated for. It's just that it's 4 miles away. It's pretty far. So if it were a little closer, if a lot of my neighbors had the same devices, then that would go very fast. So that's really the limitation. So and also because if you have a lot of neighbors with this, then you're actually sharing the bandwidth with everyone, and there's actually multiple pathways to the same place. Okay. So anyway, it's just saying to you, showing you what the possibilities. Could the entire land be compromised by a bad actor? In my case, no, because you can't really connect to the entire. You can't intercept the LAN because it's wireless. If you break off a node, it reconnects in another pathway. So you can it connects to different pathways. It's a mesh. So if one part of a mesh goes down, it just reroutes another part of the mesh. So and then it's self-healing. It's a protocol called OLSR, optimized link. What is the S? Sharing protocol? What is it again? Somebody can Google it. OLSR, optimized link S protocol. What is S again? Routing. It's optimized link S routing. I forget what the S is. The decentralized nature. Yes, it's called mesh. It's again, this was technology used to create Air Max. They were back in the day. They were saying that we can just put a lot of these units, independent units. It will connect to each other and give you basically what do you call this? The original intent was to allow people to have Wi-Fi everywhere. So they were going to sell the service, Wi-Fi everywhere. All you have to do is be near one of these AirMax stations and optimized link state routing protocol. There you go. State. So optimized link state routing protocol is the mesh protocol that allows this automatic node detection, automatic mesh control. It's already part of open source. It's already existing, and the only thing stopping this is the lack of interest in many people saying we want to make a node and applications that can be running on this kind of different platform, because you don't have like big bandwidths. So this is not suitable for running Netflix. No, Netflix is better suited for centralized organization. But if I'm, communicating with neighborhoods in a private way, just by the nature of the mesh, it really doesn't propagate, outside of the area that you need to talk to. So since there's no centralization, so then the end result is that it's private by nature. It's pretty hard to collect a centralized database on it. It's very, very interesting, and requires maybe new kinds of people to think about how to approach this problem and see if there's any desire. It may need a killer app of some sort to say, would it be fun? Would there be anything fun in this kind of network that I would be willing to spend $45 for one of these devices? Because that's all it takes, is a $45 to $100 routing device. I hope we don't get into. I hope we do get into a situation where we need this, because once it happens, if there was such a, if people said, if every one of you bought one of these, then we wouldn't be under the yoke of anyone. We could bypass the internet. You could actually still connect to the internet, but bypass it in a lot of ways to say, well, I'm going to connect to the internet. You wouldn't need a VPN. If this actually worked, you don't need a VPN. I mean, VPNs are a way to evade the centralization of the internet. By doing a VPN, then you centralize the centralization so that they can't actually see anything, because the people are converging on a point, and so it's centralized. So the people centrally controlling can't see anything of interest because they only see one point. Node cost $45. No More Civilization? I didn't say that. $45. There's another version of this using 2.4 gigahertz routers. Old ones you can buy for $15. Life of Crawford. This is only for ham licensed people right now. Why don't you check the Bitcoin price, hey? My goodness, I'm getting a allergy thing here. Not hawking anything. This is not something I sell. I'm just talking about how interesting it is. What do you mean hawking? I don't sell radios. Yes, I hawk my VPN right there. You should get a VPN. Now, radios, I don't hawk radios. I love it. It's fun. Is it green? No, it's white. Instead of paying, can you imagine it? You get a modem you get a router for your home, and then you have to pay your ISP, $100 a month for your Wi-Fi. Then you got to pay, $40 a phone for internet. I mean, it's crazy. You're paying data multiple times all over the place, and in theory, you can connect a network for free. So what I'm describing to you just tells you what's possible, because this is only for ham radio operators. It's free. There's no cost to the software. The hardware is under $100, and I could connect to many, many nodes of people here in California. Hundreds. And if everyone bought one, then I could theoretically talk to thousands. But at the moment, the only limitation is that you have to have a ham license, so that prevents this from expanding. But nobody says this could only happen for that group. It's actually possible for this to be used by everyone. It doesn't have to be in a ham band. But as an experiment, we're using it in the ham bands as a emergency network. Can you limit who connects to your nodes? No, you cannot limit who connects to your nodes. It's a mesh. And if you limit them in one direction, they'll just find another route through other mesh connections. Can you use GMR? You mean DMR? Yes, a technician license is good enough to play with mesh, yes. Yeah, technician license is enough for mesh. All of the frequencies used for mesh is in the technician range. So you don't need any fancy license. I have a general, but you don't need that. General is pretty hard to get. Yeah, test was hard, and I'm studying the extra test, and that's going to take a while. Yes, I'm familiar with the Lightning Network layer of Bitcoin. Yes. Does it work? You thought 43 Mbps was 43 megabytes per second. No, actually, most are rated in megabits, because megabytes is divided by 8. So when you're at 43 megabits per second, you're actually only at what is that? So 40 divided by 8. 43 divided by 8 is your actual megabytes per second. Extra license is my New Year resolution. Yes, I will make that. I definitely can get that extra license this year, but I want to shoot for getting it sooner than I don't want to wait till the end of the year. But there's a lot to study for, a lot. So a lot. You basically have to be an electronics expert to get the. Hello, to seek the truth. I couldn't do the math either. It's so hard. The extra license is like so much math. It's like imaginary numbers and equations for computing impedance and reactance and all that, and how many microfarads, and this is like fuck. It's like it's college math that I don't even remember studying that in college. And then it has to go with angles and cosine this and sine that and tangent that, and it's like, what the suck? And you're supposed to memorize close book. You can't, there's no book, so then you have to memorize the formulas. It's like, oh my gosh. So square root of -1, not minus I. Yes, hey knows. Except you may know what an imaginary number is, but why are imaginary numbers used? And that's the more important question. You have to know why imaginary numbers are used and for when. So then that's something you have to learn for extra license that I did not have to learn for general. We know you can do it, and it has no real use in differential equations. In the specific case of radio, the imaginary numbers are used for waveforms. Imaginary numbers have a particular characteristic that goes up and down like a wave. So computation of a lot of things relating to plotting the behavior of waveforms can be done using imaginary numbers. That's why it's there. So that's why that's used. Anyway, you should sell imaginary numbers with your radios. I do not sell radios. I'm not in the radio business. Skynet is real. Yes, that's why I'm talking to you about it. But if you were John Connor, you said we need, before Skynet takes over, we need our own internet that can survive the grid going down, because the Skynet will control the grid. We need an alternate grid. And the alternate can occur if every one of you say, I'm going to buy one of these kinds of routers. It just needs mass action. I'm not telling you to buy anything, but it just, if you hear the story and somebody said, well, if we buy this kind of router, we could all be connected. You're right. You can be. I'm doing a demonstration. If you want to see the demonstration, guys, watch my YouTube video on how to create an Arden peer-to-peer off-grid network. That's on the video. There's 2 parts to it. Watch it on YouTube, Rob Braxman Tech. Watch that video and see me actually show you how I install this and how I actually connected to it using a station that's on my boat that's about 4 miles away, connected to my house. Okay? If you have a ham license and you want to do my setup, yeah, I can sell you the Raspberry Pi with all the software on it already. Yes, then you can be up and running in minutes. Sounds techy. Yes, it's techy, but watch the video. It's just for fun. You don't have to build anything. I already pre-made the software, so it took me only minutes to assemble this because I already have the software needed to do this. So I already wrote it from before. So I just put it on a Raspberry Pi, and I was able to do this very, very quickly and got up and running. I did this whole exercise, including buying some missing parts. It took me 2 days to get it running, and I had to go physically on the boat, and you can see on the video where I had to assemble it, and it's nice and stable on the boat, and it really is kind of nice. I can log to it. Sometimes the signal goes a little bit slower on, I think, low tide. Low tide may affect it because it's on a boat. It's at a frequency only dogs hear. No, it's only at a frequency that ham radio operators can hear. Can a ham operator on the East Coast talk to you on what? Yes, ham operator can talk to me depending on whatever it is used. There are data modes that you can use that crosses the internet, so you can use DMR. For example, so I don't have a DMR radio, but if I had one, you could talk to me on a DMR radio. You could talk on HF radio over the airwaves with propagation. So it may be difficult to hear. It depends on the propagation and skywave. How about an offline router to router to router to router? That's what I'm talking about. Hey, is your boat loaded with survival stuff? Well, my boat can survive. It's a sailboat. It's a sailboat. So yes, I can take the sailboat and survive. It always has water. It always has everything on there, and it has food, and it has an oven, a bathroom. You can survive. Yes. So yes, it could be a bug out location. So, and yes, all I have to do is bring my weapons on there. Buckets of food. Why need ham radio? You can use Wi-Fi. That's correct. Hey, you can just you can get a ham radio license and not get any ham radios, and just use ham license. What about TP? TP what? What is TP? What is TP? TP link? What do you mean by TP? Missing that. Rob, yeah. Okay, how come all the comments are only coming from Periscope? YouTube, you have a problem here. You don't comment too much. YouTube, you gotta comment more. There's more comments coming in through Periscope here. You need to speed up the comments on YouTube. It's toilet paper. Oh, it has toilet paper. Yes. It has a bathroom. Okay, so therefore it has supplies. Periscope does not rule. It's those were the old days. Hey, you're about 4 years behind. The Magic School Bus, 10 years worth of TP. I didn't intend to live on the boat permanently, but if there were zombies in LA, at least I can escape the zombies in LA and go to some island somewhere. There are islands here. There are islands here in California, so who knows? There could be an earthquake and we can make more islands. Hello, Glee is real. We can make more islands here, like the Waterworld dude. Hello, Glee is real. How are you? Poop in the ocean. It's free. No, you're not. You can't poop in the 3 mile zone. Run out of TP. Use a fig leaf. It's very easy to go to the bathroom in the ocean. Use a bucket. That's all you need. I had a smaller boat before, and it didn't have a bathroom. And how do you handle that in the middle of the ocean? Simple. A bucket. You don't need sucking toilet paper. Bucket. Lots of water. Unlimited supply of water. But if you have to go within 3 miles, you gotta go. Well, I have a bathroom for that. Did you say ahoy? So hello, Kareem. How are you doing, Kareem? So yes, you can use a bucket. Yeah. So that's typically that's rude to the fish. But Biden, what is why are you bringing politics into this? Why are you bringing politics into this? Solar energy? What does that have to do with anything? I think that you're just unloading. They think you're just unloading over the side. A lot of babes on the boat. Not on mine. My boat is all boys at the moment. Not always. But why is it serious? GHVTY. And why did you change your account again? What's wrong with it? Why did you have to change your account? Because they think you revealed too much information. I guess you revealed too much information in your other account, so you got to go change. Yes, he is great gold. Isn't that obvious? Yeah, I had to change. I have a very good memory, so I can remember things. As fishing nets to catch. Yes, there you go. Yes. So I got banned. I got banned from another channel. Yeah, you're kind of lucky. I don't block you here. GHVTY. Sound like a double vision. You're seeing double vision here. Double vision. So anyway, if what I'm talking about, Instagram was down yet, I wouldn't know, wouldn't care, Kareem. Instagram could be down for a week, and Facebook could be down for 2 weeks, and I would say, no effect in my life. I don't know anything about that. I don't use those platforms. I'm neither on Instagram, Facebook, nor WhatsApp, nor Snapchat. What else? Nor Pinterest, nor Tumblr. So, I'm only on Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, and I'm not on LinkedIn and YouTube. So, yeah, that's it. How much money I have no idea. Why don't you ask them? So, anyway, I hope you I hope I'm here to stimulate your mind. This is not something you can buy or implement unless you have a ham license as far as experimentation. But if there was enough desire, this could actually be made into, a non-ham licensed product, and we could actually come up with something here. And temporarily, while there are holes, because in the beginning of this, there's not going to be a lot of users on this platform, right? Well, you can bridge it with the internet temporarily. You can create what are called tunnels. So you can do an internet tunnel temporarily, and then later on, as you need to, you can cut off the tunnel. So this is technology that could be interesting, because if Skynet is taking over, just understand there is a way out of sucking Skynet. There's a way out from Skynet. There's a way out from Skynet. Can you imagine if you just buy one of these devices and keep it? Don't even have to use it. Just have it available. You could have, it's like having one of these. It's like having protection. Or do you do something this network doesn't allow, or whatever, I don't know what you're saying. What classical music is good for learning how to write bass lines? Or should I just apply jazz theory? What the fuck, bad cow? I'm guessing you like Terminator movies. Double vision, it's a good analogy because it's real. I'm going off the grid, but I need my internet. Leroy, your problem, Leroy, is you can probably connect your entire town with this kind of grid that I'm talking about, but then how do you link your town to the next town? That's where the problem is, and that's where somebody needs to build a backbone. And so there has to be at least temporarily ways to link these, maybe through the internet in stretches. And it could be encrypted, so you could link them through VPNs, so that they pass through little lines, and then those could be turned into radio lines at some point in time. So this is a Skynet resistance. I'm telling you that it can be done. It can be built, but in order for this to actually happen, somebody actually has to realize there is a problem. If you don't believe that there's a problem and you are okay with the centralization of the internet and all that entails, then it's not going to matter. So it's really an understanding that, hey, there is an issue. We do have to be concerned about this. Do you believe AI is as dangerous as many suggest? Yes. Do I have to tell you that? Isn't that obvious? So black marker, or whatever I'm going to call you, just stick to black marker, unless you're going to be permanently in that account. Look at the problem with you. All of your porn activities are centrally in a database. Okay? Now, how would you like that? I wonder what happens when you apply for a government position. Why don't you get a job in the military, as a civilian employee, and see what happens on your background check? I really wonder, background checks now include checking your internet presence. So that's part of the background check now. So they're going to check everything about you, and they're going to say, we don't like your activities, black marker. You have very suspicious activities. You work. Well, I guess you can only stick to that. Yeah, so stick to that, TY. I'm going through one right now. There you go, Pilot Mike. I like how he thinks. You like how Black Marker thinks? I must have hit a wrong link 1,000 times. Oh, oops! I hit a wrong link. I have the activity of a politician on the internet. Zuck. when I'm on the internet, I can sense the presence of AI following me around. Hey, even on Periscope, these bots are following you around. It's like, you know, uh, even if centrally Periscope isn't controlling you, the bots are. They're manipulating your decisions because you're seeing, oh, there's a lot of viewers on this, so I'm going to watch that, and it's like you're co-watching with the bots. Background check guy, yeah, yeah. So those people in the background check guys, they're scary. They did the background check on Snowden, and they okayed Snowden. Uh, why is tube on why is tube why don't what is that, pilot Mike? Why is that on your favorites? Ah, yeah, they can check that. I'm Botman from Botham City. Yep. So I'm serious, guys. I'm very, why would I think about ham radio, guys? Why would somebody in this generation? Let me just tell you a little story. Let me just tell you a little story. Uh, I was talking to this old timer on ham radio because I have I know a lot of people on ham radio, and I was talking to this old timer, and I was trying to introduce him to mesh networks, and was like, I don't want to hear anything about mesh zucking networks. I don't know what that is. I don't want to know about that computer stuff. I just want to get on the radio. I want to just say CQ, CQ all night. And I don't need to know about all this digital, whatever nonsense crap you're talking about. So, I want to ask you a question. Why would somebody in a techie like me, who has access to the internet and has internet apps, understand software? Yes, CQ all night. I have all this advanced capability to work on the internet and software and all. I understand all that, and I write all that. I've been on the internet forever. I've been writing software for the internet and internet-like things forever. I built enterprise systems for internet access. A lot of medical systems that are supporting, thousands and thousands and thousands of doctors are using system I wrote. And yet, why am I saying I want to go backwards in time and use something as old-fashioned as a zucking radio? Have you ever asked that question? Why am I so zucking weird that I go and talk about ham radio when there is so much zucking stuff to do on the zucking internet? Because, guys, the internet is zucking tainted. The internet is centrally controlled. The internet is manipulated. The internet is tracked. The internet is centrally recorded. The internet is listened to, spied on, and I don't like that. Your IP address is bandied around in every move. Your location tracked. Your phone turns on. Your Alexa listens to you, and then Facebook wants to give you Alexas that are actually have a camera to see what you're doing in the fucking bathroom. I mean, this is like Amazon wants to open your door. Amazon wants to be able to take a picture of your house every time they deliver. I mean, it's just all of the stuff that just goes on, and nobody rebels against this. The average person says, "Who cares?" Well, suck you. You're sucking idiots if you don't care. The reason I care is because I understand the technology and I understand the danger in centralizing the abilities to control these things from a centralized point. It's zucking Skynet. Allowing centralized control of these is Skynet. I don't like that. I don't like Skynet. So I said, well, I need to come up with alternatives. So I am studying and looking at things that provide alternative means of communication. That's why I'm interested in digital modes in ham radio, because I want to digitally communicate like I do now, but I just don't want to do it using SMS. I don't want to do it using the internet, I want to know if there's an alternative. Because the only way I can communicate on the internet is I have to encrypt it. You see the problem here? The only reason we have to do encryption on the internet is because somebody's spying on it in the middle. Why do you need a VPN? Why do we all need a VPN? We need a VPN because there's somebody spying on it in the middle. Well, if our internet was decentralized, no one could spy on it in a centralized way. Yes, you can be exposed. You can have your real name and all that. And it won't matter because it's not centralized. There won't be any centralized control. Nobody could shut down the whole thing. Here we have an environment where somebody could just shut down the whole grid. Somebody can shut down the whole network. Some Russian spy, some Russian hacker could shut down the grid. Then what? Suddenly we have no electricity, and you think, oh my gosh, no grid. Maybe that we need one shutdown like that to happen. If we have a shutdown like that, even for a brief moment, like let's say a day, if our grid shut down for a day or two, that would be a crisis that would be a crisis. But a day or two we can survive. And in a day or two, that would make people think my way and say, wow, that's what we are doing here. We're living in centralized society, and I don't want that. If I can go off grid and put solar panels with batteries, I would do so. It's kind of expensive, but because I have a lot of power use in here. But I would love that. So yeah, there would be billions of losses if the grid went down for a couple of days. If it shuts down, I'm going to play Candy Crush for 48 hours. Then worry about it. You won't have any battery because you don't have any solar power. So we're gonna, I've been searching for solar products to keep your devices running when the electricity goes down. Yes, GHTY identified with your GUID. I want to be off the grid. Yes, that's I'm excited by. I do a lot of off-grid stuff, and a lot of the stuff I talk about is natural to me. And the reason it's natural to me is because I'm a sailor. I've had to go off the grid. When you go off sailing, you're really off the grid. I don't know if you know this, but when I go sailing, I here in Los Angeles, sometimes I'll take a weekend and go to Catalina Island. Okay, so I'll take my sailboat to Catalina Island, and that's like 40 miles away over the ocean. Okay, so it's a 40 nautical mile trip to go to the other side of Catalina Island where I go. And when you're there, you're not connected to anything. There's no power. You're independent. You're running from your boat. You're running on radios. You're running on battery power. You're running on your engine power, and so on. And so I am actually ever going to that sub at Catalina? No. So I don't usually go to Avalon. I go to Cat Harbor, which is the back end of Catalina. So, no, Donnie, something more serious than that. That's kind of like baby stuff. I found one that's not really publicized much, and it's like, I think it's like 200 watts portable solar panel. You haven't boycotted Facebook. We've boycotted Facebook a long time ago. Black Marker, you're a little bit late with that. Thank God you're broadcasting in. This YouTube videos are not the same. No, Livendi, please. No, I prefer YouTube videos. Sorry. I don't get much action from these live streams, so if I can't really do too many of these, it's not productive for me. It doesn't get that much. No generator on your vessel. There's an alternator on my vessel. Yeah, if you idle the engine, it's a generator. Yeah, if you idle, so I'm used to off-grid. It's not that new of a topic for me. We just didn't call it off-grid because it's a boat. But a boat is basically off-grid. So when people say, "Do you know anything about off-grid?" Well, I have an independently, running boat that's really off-grid. It has and when it's on land, it's trickle charging from the dock, but using regulators and controllers and all that. And the only thing I never added to it was a solar panel. And the reason I don't have a solar panel is because we race on the boat, and I can't really have anything like a solar panel blocking it for racing. But I don't really race anymore, so I could put a solar panel. That's true, Lenny PR, but I didn't know that you know about that. That's too kind of far away from you. Yes, but I've never been invited to play jazz at Catalina Island. I take money from. Do you think I'm being monitored? Oh yes, yes. So anyway, you can see that everything I do here on my channel with ham radio, with networking and cybersecurity and all this are all connected. And actually, when I started to talk about the fact that I'm so disgusted with the surveillance internet, some people unsubscribed to me. I couldn't believe it. Some people unsubscribed to me. I don't need why do you need a generator when you can idle the engine? Maybe your generator is I have a new engine on my boat. I have an old boat with a new engine, and with the new engine is quieter. So yeah, you can run the engine, a couple hours a day to charge the batteries, and then you can run on battery and run your computers and all that. Maybe they were emotionally distraught. What does that mean? So anyway, I'm to run the AC appliances with the motor off. Yeah, but I'm running it on battery, Kamara Jeff. I don't need that. I'm running off deep cycle batteries. So when the engine is off, the batteries take the load. So a typical boat has auxiliary batteries. They're not used for starting, and they're used to run the things like I have power, pressure water on my boat. Things like that. I have things like oven and such don't use electricity. So really, on a boat, it's just lighting for the lights and then power your computers and devices. And I have that with banks of batteries. So microphone is way better now. What does that mean? So yeah, so I have a very, very interesting setup, and so it's almost funny that I'm linking knowledge I already have had for a long time and combining it into this channel and talking about seemingly unconnected things, but they are connected. Ham radio, cybersecurity, privacy, and some of the retro devices I'm talking about on YouTube, they're all connected. And they're connected because I'm looking for alternatives away from Skynet. I'm looking for things that Skynet cannot control. Skynet cannot control ham radio, people. Ham radio is not centralized. Ham radio cannot be controlled by Skynet. So these things are not controllable by Skynet. Maybe I need to make a video to make this clear. I can't imagine why people unfollowed me because they didn't understand what my channel is about. Because they only come in because I did some broadcast. I did some video on YubiKeys and some cybersecurity stuff, and they actually don't realize that they're in the wrong channel because they're thinking, why does this guy talk about weird things like leaving the internet? God, fuck you, because I understand that the issue is Skynet. Skynet is the issue. Skynet is the real issue here. And I'm trying, especially analog hitting off repeaters. Correct, Camara Jeff. Yeah, anything analog is just not subject to decentralized control. Analog just not suitable for that. This is why it's kind of awesome to be doing this technology that is, somebody would say it's old stuff, but when you add the kind of stuff that I'm doing, again, watch the video that I made to connect my experimental boat setup to my home, at 30 megabits per second, and watch that video and show you that yes, there is a way to create your own. In fact, I can use it for the internet. I can go on my boat and get internet through my house at 30 megabits per second. Skynet is not real, it's from a movie. You are wrong, GHVTY. You are quite wrong. Skynet is Facebook, Google, Apple, Amazon. Skynet's already here. And the National Zucking Agency. Skynet is here. You just don't know it. Oh no, it's from the movie. You must like Terminator. It's like, suck. Use your imagination, folks. Centralized control. This is what happens when you have centralized control. Yes, Mike Smith. That's what happens. Centralized control yields something called Skynet. And it may not be exactly like the movie, but the implications are scaringly similar in various degrees. And it's going to get worse. When the robots come out, and robots are already here, you say, I don't see any zucking robots. Zuck, look around you. Every zucking Tesla is a robot. Zuck, people. You don't even realize a robot because it doesn't look like a man. Teslas don't look human, so they're not robots. Well, they don't have to look like a man to be a robot. Okay? They don't need to look like a man to be a robot. It's basically a robot. Automatically deciding things on its own when it drives. So it's a robot. What if it was shaped like a, like RoboCop? And RoboCop walked around town and checked things out. Does it have to look like a car? No. So yeah. This I better make a video about Skynet. But the robots are not conscious. It's like, fuck. Obviously, they're centrally controlled, just like they are on Skynet. Centrally controlled. My gosh. See, black marker GHVTY here, so young. He doesn't get it. They still make predictable, calculated decisions? No, they're controlled by a robot. You're the predictable one. You're the one that's predictable. They profile you. They know everything about you. They know your life history. They know how many porn videos you watch. They know what you watch. They know all your preferences. And have you seen the new security guard bots? Yes, we have it here in LA, LG Knight. Somebody sent me a photo. They saw it at the train station in downtown LA. They have it here already. Skynet is self-aware. It doesn't have to be an actual Skynet because Zuckerberg is self-aware. He controls the bots. Therefore, it's Skynet. Skynet may be run by Zuckerberg. So even GHVTY knows about this information. How do we know you're not deep fake? You can't know that, silly Willy. Except when I read your name, then you know it's not. Skynet is a program, but it's Z as I forget. Yeah, this is not my real face. It's deep fake. It's called Bureau. Really? Okay, so anyway, it's I don't have, as I've already told you, I don't have fixed broadcast schedules here on live stream. Because I have a very, crazy couple of weeks with other activities in here, so I'm not going to be around broadcasting the next couple of days, and then we'll see if I'm not broadcasting next weekend for sure. So we'll see if I can broadcast in the middle of the week, or even Sunday to Monday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll see. I have to see. I have to see what happens. Because they know you're a sick person, GHVTY. Can you come up with another name that I can pronounce? Always a pleasure to see you here, Mike Smith. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you for being here, my friends, and I hope you understand. Don't unfollow me don't unsubscribe to my account on YouTube because you don't get the videos. If you don't get the videos, then think, is what he's doing connected to Skynet? Yes, Skynet. I better make a video about that. Okay. Thank you, Great Gold. Thank you for inviting me to do the live stream. So I shall, I guess I should delete the first video on YouTube. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next week. And I have more videos coming up. I have a video coming up tomorrow. Okay. Just say give TY. What does that mean, ET Buck? Okay. Bye-bye.